Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the hidden language of corporate filings. Today we're looking at Kayne BDC Inc. and let's just say they've got some interesting news about their dividends and financial performance that might make you want to check your portfolio and maybe join our Discord for an even deeper dive into these numbers. So what we have here is a Form 8K, which is basically a report for big events that shareholders need to know about right away. Think of it as a company's way of shouting out important news as it happens, rather than waiting for their regular quarterly update. This particular filing is from Kayne BDC Inc. Now, what's a BDC, you ask? It stands for Business Development Company. Basically, think of them as special investment companies that help smaller or growing businesses get the capital they need to expand. They often invest in and lend money to these companies, which can be pretty risky, but also potentially very profitable. The date here, August 11, 2025, tells us when this report is being filed, marking a significant event for the company. This report is being sent to the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, the government agency that oversees the stock market, to make sure things are fair and companies are honest with investors. Now let's talk about what Kayne BDC actually does. They have common stock, which is basically a piece of ownership in the company. And for investors, the most exciting part of a filing like this is often the financial results and any news about money coming back to shareholders. This section, Item 202, is all about their financial results. They announced their earnings for the second quarter that ended on June 30th of this year. This is where we get the nitty-gritty of how the company has been performing. They put out a press release to share this information. Think of a press release as the company's official announcement, kind of like their own news story, but usually very carefully worded. And it gets even better. They also created an earnings presentation. This is usually a slideshow that breaks down their financial performance in a more visual and easy to understand way. Often these presentations are designed to highlight the company's successes. Then we have Item 7.01, which covers Regulation FD. Now, FD stands for Fair Disclosure. This regulation is all about making sure that companies tell everyone the same important information at the same time. They can't give a heads up to just a few select people, like big investors, about something important before they tell the general public. And here's a big piece of news from that press release. They've declared a dividend. This means they are paying out some of their profits directly to their shareholders. The dividend is 0.20 for each share of stock owned for the third quarter of 2025. This is great news for investors as it's a direct return on their investment. Mark your calendars if you own this stock. The payment date for this dividend is October 16th, and you need to be a registered shareholder by September 30th to get that payment. Finally, we have Item 9.01 titled Financial Statements and Exhibits. This is essentially the appendix of the report where all the supporting documents are listed. Here we see Exhibit 99.1, which is that press release we talked about, the one that contains the company's financial results and the dividend announcement. And Exhibit 99.2 is that earnings presentation. This is usually the most telling document for investors because it's the company's curated story of their financial health. And then there's Exhibit 104, which is the cover page data. This is part of a newer system that makes financial data more machine readable, meaning computers can understand it more easily, which is all part of making financial reporting more transparent. Now, looking at the signature section, we see the company's name, Kayne BDC Inc., and the date August 11, 2025. And the signature is by Terry A. Hart, who holds a pretty important title here. He's the Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer. That means he's a top executive responsible for managing the company's money, its investments, and its financial planning. His signing off on this report means he's confirming that the information presented is accurate, at least to the best of his knowledge. So what does this all mean for Kayne BDC and its investors? Well, the big news here is the dividend declaration, paying out a dividend of 0.44 per share shows that the company is generating enough profit to share with its owners, which is generally a positive sign of financial health. It suggests confidence from management in the company's ability to continue earning money. However, we don't have the actual financial tables in this specific filing. This 8K is more of an announcement of other documents. To truly understand the company's performance, we'd need to dig into that earnings presentation or the full financial statements that the press release references. Those would tell us about things like revenue growth, profitability, expenses, and the company's overall financial strength. For instance, a key thing to look for in their earnings presentation would be their net investment income, or perhaps their total assets. If their net investment income is increasing, that means their core business of lending and investing is becoming more profitable. If their total assets are growing, it suggests they are either making more investments or their existing investments are increasing in value. We also need to consider the BDC model itself. BDCs often offer attractive dividend yields because they are required by law to distribute at least 90% of their taxable income to shareholders annually. This makes them appealing to income-focused investors, but it also means their financial health is closely tied to their ability to consistently generate that income. Risks for a company like Kayne Anderson BDC can include economic downturns that might affect the businesses they invest in, interest rate fluctuations that can impact their borrowing costs and investment yields, and the specific creditworthiness of the companies in their portfolio. If the businesses they lend to start struggling, Kayne Anderson BDC could see its income and asset values decline. In terms of direction, the announcement of a consistent dividend suggests a strategy focused on returning value to shareholders. This is often a sign of a mature and stable business, or one that is confident in its cash flow generation. However, without seeing the detailed financial tables, it's hard to say if this dividend is sustainable in the long term or if it comes at the expense of reinvesting in growth opportunities. My take on this report is that it's a positive step for current shareholders due to the dividend. It signals that the company is operating profitably enough to distribute cash. But for a complete picture, we really need to see the numbers behind the announcement. Are they growing their income, or are they distributing income at the expense of future growth? That's the question. Always remember to look beyond the headlines and dive into the details. Alright, that's our quick decode of this filing from Kayne Anderson BDC. What are your thoughts on their dividend announcement and what it might mean for their future? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to Corporate Decoder for more insights into the world of finance. And don't forget to join our Discord community for even deeper discussions and analysis. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Into the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.